Peace, everyone. It's Black Eyed Priestess. Just making a matcha latte. I figured I'd go live because someone did have a question. And, for 2019, I don't do work for free. That includes family and friends as well. I don't do work for free. And I'm cutting back on barter. There's probably only a handful of people who I would barter with because their product or service is something that I actually need or use. But what I will do is I will continue to take questions, and if you don't make a payment, then I'll do it live on a live feed. If you want a personal reading, that includes any question that you have. As an oracle, any question you have will let me know what's going on and different metaphysical solutions using witchcraft, using voodoo, using spirituality, different things that you can do to solve your problem pertaining to the question and how it relates to you as an individual. But the general question was, can a man be connected to your period? So the answer is yes. What I want to do is get my latte going here. A man can be connected to your period when a woman is coming on her period or in a premenstrual cycle, a woman can become horny. And that's because the egg is influencing your body to get fertilized, to fertilize the egg with sperm. So the first way is that a man can sense when a woman is in heat or when a woman is in her season, so to speak, or in that time of the month. A man can sense those things, particularly if, moving on to the second part, if this is someone who you're spending a regular amount of time with. The same way that women who spend a lot of time together, either through work, who live together, or, may get together on a regular basis. Depending on how sensitive you are, that could be, between once or twice a week up to, like I said, every day. Women's periods can synchronize. Same thing if you're spending time with a man on a regular basis. He can become, his moods, so to speak, can become synchronized with your period, meaning a man has a monthly cycle, they just don't bleed. But men do have monthly cycles of emotional purification, which is something that happens with a woman during the menstrual cycle. So in that way, just like women's periods can synchronize, a man's emotional state can synchronize with your emotional state as the period cleanses, emotions as well. And the more connected, so to speak, you are to a man, the more connected he can be to your particular hormonal changes, which is what happens when you're in your cycle. You have hormonal changes, and, like I said, some men can sense when a woman is in heat or when a woman is becoming emotionally sensitive because of the hormonal changes that are happening during that cycle. The third way is if you are sleeping with a man, his body may go into heat around the same time your body does. If you all already have made that sexual connection and you're sleeping together, where I don't want to say your algorithms, but your hormonal rhythms are having that masculine and feminine balancing factor, so to speak, there you can create your own hormonal equilibrium in that relationship and in that chemistry, because usually people become sexually attracted to one another based on chemistry. A lot of times having good sex with someone has a lot to do with how your chemistry works with that person's chemistry, their hormones, their pheromones. The pheromones that we give off attract lovers to us. So a person who's really aroused by your particular pheromones may be someone who you have a good sexual chemistry with. Unfortunately, that doesn't always mean that the relationship outside of the bedroom is going to succeed. But, you know, when it comes to our menstrual, I'm going to add a peppermint in. Well, actually, no. I'm going to add the eucalyptus, and I'm going to put some rose petals in my chalice. You guys know how I do, and I want to talk a little bit about eucalyptus. But, you know, if you have a good chemistry with someone and you are already creating that hormonal balance by having a cohabitation or, you know, a steady and preferably committed sexual relationship with that person. Oh, I gotta add the vanilla. You know, you can, you know, in a metaphysical way as well, you can start to feed off of that person's energy, and you and your partner's hormones may synchronize in a way that keeps the relationship balanced. Now, again, that's considering that the man is, you know, not dealing with too much soy or too many things that will effeminize him and raise his estrogen and reduce his masculinity. Same thing with the woman. It's important that women avoid birth control because it creates a lot of health complications. Make sure your doctor knows what they're talking about when they prescribe you a birth control that may work well with your body, because birth control can cause a lot of nasty attitudes and other health complications in women that defeat the whole purpose of using it, because her character will start to destroy the relationship because she's dealing with hormonal suppressants that, you know, that will affect the sexual mood of her and in the relationship. Birth control is not natural for a woman to take. So that's another thing I wanted to talk about in terms of a man being connected to your period. You know, given that he's in his natural masculinity, things like soy will negatively affect a man's natural masculinity and virility. Soy effeminizes men and causes too much estrogen, and that affects women too. But something that can cause a woman to become more masculine, you know, or essentially imbalanced hormonally, you know, where you can go from more masculine to too much estrogen and too much hormones. It can be birth control, you know. So if you're not on birth control, a woman's natural hormonal cycles will line up with her environment, and that's what a woman's menstrual cycle does. You know, sometimes your menstrual cycle can line up with the full moon, and there's something called lunaception, where women whose periods come during the full moon use that alignment and that rhythm to avoid pregnancy, or to increase the probability of getting pregnant. So there are moringa as well is another herb. I think moringa is a leaf. It's a herb. It's not a root. But moringa is something that I haven't used personally, but I've heard that moringa is something that is a natural birth control. You can take that and that will prevent pregnancy. There's things like spermicide. There's other options. There's female condoms that may be a better option for both the man and the woman. Female condoms are bigger. Actually, the modern female condoms are not worn like the panties, like the original ones that came out. I could have been the 50s or 60s. I'm not sure, but there was a female condom where the woman would wear it almost like a thong, so to speak, and that one got really good reviews from women because it added friction to the clitoris during sex. And it was taken off the market despite the fact that women loved it because it was considered to look unattractive. It didn't have a good look for marketing. Personally, I think that it was taken off the market because this is a male dominated society and men deprived of sexual abuse is not only forcible sex or physical abuse during sex, so to speak. There's sexual abuse is also psychologically damaging a person by depriving them of sexual pleasure or manipulating pleasure, in ways that, some people like, you got BDMS, all this type of stuff, but sex crimes are a way to control someone. And you have people out here who will abuse a partner by not giving them the pleasure, by not reciprocating sexual pleasure and damaging them psychologically in that way. And this isn't about teasing and things that get a person off fetishes. It's about the same way as rape can be forcing a person to sex. It can also be in a relationship where you're withholding sex too. Now, sometimes women may do that to get what they want in a relationship, but there is a point where not reciprocating and not satisfying your partner sexually can become a form of abuse in a relationship, and it can damage the relationship. It can damage the psychology of your partner as well. So I wanted to go live because we are having a super blood moon. There's a lot of the blood moon cycles happening right now, and the scriptures do talk about that approaching the last days. I'm not sure what exact books of the Bible, but there are a couple. I don't have them at the moment, maybe when I go pull a scripture, but there are some books that actually talk about the moon turning red, the sun standing still, or the daytime turning to darkness, and the different weather calamities that are occurring. So the blood moon cycles are speaking to signs of the times that have been prophesied about in the scriptures. Today's another blood moon. We got a lot of those going on, a lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, blood moons, super moons. And I felt like it would be a good time to, at least check in with everyone. So that was a question that I got. Can a man be connected to a woman's period? And it's also important to understand, I'm just throwing some roses in here. It's also important to understand that a man is connected to a woman's pregnancy too. If a man gets a woman pregnant and they're together, especially, and he's around, that man will gain weight along with the woman. And, you know, it can happen naturally from him eating a lot more because he's, you know, buying his woman a lot more food and she's eating more. So, you know, if they're together, he might naturally start to eat more because she has to. But the hormones of that being his sperm that she's gestating and nurturing in her womb, his hormones are going to synchronize with hers in that same way. Just like with the period, it's about a hormonal rhythm. And a man will start to, you know, his body may change a little bit, not just him eating more, but his male instinct to protect and provide is going to kick in the same way her hormones are going to kick in to provide breast milk to feed through the umbilical cord. A woman may lose her appetite for certain foods that could potentially harm the baby. Alcohol, a woman could stop drinking. Or, you know, her body may cause her to lose a craving for things that will harm the baby. And she'll start to, you know, maybe change her diet and eat things that will support proper nutrition. Again, this is all given that you're living as naturally as possible and you know, feeding your body, getting fresh air, drinking water, you know, grounding yourself by spending time in nature, connecting with dirt where you can get electrolytes from, and grounding yourself, connecting with trees, connecting with foliage, anything green with chlorophyll that will, you know, ground you and connect you to the planet. Getting fresh air so you can have clear thoughts. Air, the oxygen that feeds your brain is important, and you need fresh air to meditate properly and to reach clarity, to breathe in, to de-stress, and to calm your mind and your thoughts. Getting salt for your blood and alkalinizing your body, getting good salt, not bleached. Nothing bleached, white starch, white flour, white rice, white sugar, white salt. All of these bleached additives, stick to the natural stuff as much as possible, which means pink salt, gray salt, sea salt, mountain salt. If you're doing all these things, then it will cause you to have a healthier relationship, because the natural hormonal changes that happen, 1, when you fall in love, 2, when you start to have sex with someone, 3, when you get pregnant together, you know, and then 4, after you may have a baby. But even if a baby's not involved, the natural hormonal cycles that occur when love is created or a sexual union is established, all of that plays into different ways a man can be connected to your period. And of course, if you like someone, like I said, if you have a certain chemistry with someone, and that's oftentimes based on pheromones and things like that. If you have a sexual chemistry with someone, or if you're spending enough time with someone where you can become infatuated with them, your hormones start to change as well. Things start to get released in your body when you're around that person, and you experience pleasure being around that person. Different levels of serotonin. So, if anyone has any questions, let me know. My latte is pretty much done. I'm pouring here. It's a green tea matcha latte, and I added some of the sacral spices that I usually add. Hold on. It's kind of early. I'm just getting a early start. So I have the eucalyptus in there, the rose, which I put in my chalice because the heat will cook the rose a little bit. And but I like to nibble on the rose petals. I've always eaten roses, even when my exes would like get me roses. I would just start to eat the rose by itself like that. And clove, cinnamon, nutmeg, little ginger. So let's come in here and I'll show you. So that's my rose eucalyptus matcha latte, and I wanted to I didn't even put any jewelry on or anything. It's just a random live. I wanted to, like I said, answer questions, but I also want to let people know I don't do free work anymore. I don't do free services. If you want to earn a complimentary divination, you can promote me on social media for a week. You have to tag me in it every day. Promote me for a consecutive week with the tag in it where I can see that you promoted my website, my shop, or one of my videos, and or even one of my modeling photos. If I see that you've done that, you'll get a free counseling session, or you can post a recommendation if you've already gotten a free service from me before, or if you've gotten a service from me in the past before. You can put a recommendation on my Facebook page, because the Etsy link does not work. I've had trouble with it. Other subscribers on Etsy, other sellers have had trouble with it. So as of now, recommendations will only be on my Facebook page until I update my website. You can get a free counseling session if you put up a recommendation using the recommendation tab. Of course, you get a free counseling session with any purchase. So if you purchase soap, the holy water, the Ibukule incense, or one of my intuition Ilekis, you'll get a free counseling session. So if I do get some questions here and there, I will be answering them live. If you want a personal session, you have to make a purchase. You have to purchase. If you just want a straight counseling session, it's $25 an hour. So I wanted to really quickly talk about some of the things I use. Eucalyptus in witchcraft is for healing and protection. And we've got the ginger in there for love, money, success, and power. Nutmeg, luck, money, health, fidelity, and relief from nightmares. And we've got, I did put a peppermint in there, which is purification. Oh no, I put the eucalyptus instead. But peppermint is good, especially in this season, for purification, sleep, love, healing, and psychic powers. So again, with eucalyptus, the healing and protection, and rose, clove, also protection, exorcism, love, money, and cinnamon, spirituality, success, healing, power, psychic power, protection, and love. So I just want to reiterate how the cinnamon, the clove, the nutmeg, and even ginger are sacral spices that deal with luck, success, money, which will be more so, money is new age, but these, the luck aspect and the success aspect of the sacral spices coming from the sacral chakra, the chakra of our sexuality that we use to create and to express. These spices that I put in are great for drawing in resources to you, but really enhancing your sacral chakra and enhancing the heat, so to speak, and the enhancing your sexuality in ways that allow you to create. Not always used for having sex, but of course, you know, these are things you can. It's common to sprinkle cinnamon on your bed sheets to, you know, enhance lovemaking and things like that. But when it comes to how I put them in my tea and I drink them every day, it allows you to keep up your personal creativity and to keep up that that lover's glow, so to speak, that attractiveness that you get when you are expressing your sensuality, your sexuality. I wanted to talk about rose a little bit, and also the thing about these particular sacral spices is, especially with the nutmeg and the clove, they deal with success in luck, success in drawing and attracting resources to you, and that deals with lady luck as well, where opportunities will show up when just when you need them, so to speak, you know. But those spices combined also help protect the resources you attract and help protect your wealth, so to speak. They will protect you sexually, protect you from bad decision making, protect you from giving away or depleting your sexual energy on a potential incubus or succubus, on a sexual vampire, but also, again, dealing with attracting the resources. They will help protect the things you attract from someone who may be lingering and waiting to kind of set a trap for you. Situations where people may be around you because you're attractive, but they're waiting for you to attract the resource that they're looking for. So then once you attract it to you, they can steal it and run away with it in a way. And that can happen. It doesn't always have to be someone in a plot, you know, to steal from you. But remember, when you have the abundance that these sacral spices will generate, if you utilize them and use them in spells, that abundance will it attracts the good with the bad, and it requires a certain level of protection as well, so you don't squander your resources, so you don't get too excited about gaining and earning where you squander your earnings and become depleted again. And so you don't, you know, let the bad that you attract with the good stay mingled with your resources to the point where people are stealing from you and not offering you anything for the abundance that you can provide for others. Now, I wanted to talk about rose really quickly. Oh, my phone's dying. And my voice. Been chit-chatting a lot. Rose is for love, psychic power, healing, love, divination, also luck and protection. So that's why rose complements those spices, but with eucalyptus and rose, you get the healing and protection, and rose from the eucalyptus and that enhanced psychic ability pertaining to love. So eucalyptus and rose, you know, for me in particular, it helps keep a healthy cleansed state. Eucalyptus kind of can, you know, open your sinuses, so it leaves me open to receive divination. The roses enhances the ability to receive divination too, but it also creates healing. It can create a sexual healing, you know, without having it from a lover. but also that psychic ability of the rose and that love psychism and that healing from the eucalyptus can give you a psychic intuition that will allow you to receive love and receive healing from a metaphysical place. And it will connect you, so to speak, to like a soulmate. You know, it will allow you to reach into the ether and use that psychic ability to draw in the love healing that you may need at that time. And that can come in the form of friends showing up out of the blue, long lost lovers or exes coming back, you know, new people showing up who can serve as a resource to you. But in particular, it will help you understand things in the past and help you see a lover or a potential lover clearly. And it will help you see yourself clearly and to forgive where forgiveness is necessary, but also help you understand, you know, if a person is not reciprocating or if a person really isn't into you and isn't the best for you. It will open your spiritual, your psychic sinuses to different people and situations who you need to protect yourself from and protect your heart from, so you don't fall in love with a person who is not going to be a good resource for you in the long run. Guess I can pull a scripture real quick too. Psalms 35:13 or Psalms 35:15. But when I stumbled, they rejoiced and gathered together. They gathered together to strike me down in ambush. They tore me to pieces and did not keep silent. Yeah. The ungodly scornfully mock me, it says, or the ungodly mock for a cake, and they grind their teeth against me. So, you know, I'm going to stop there. That's Psalm 35, verse 15 and 16. And that kind of is pertaining to what I said, the importance of, again, you know, cloves, ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, and even allspice too, which allspice is money, luck, and healing. So again, all those five sacral spices, they all deal with drawing in resources, but also helping you protect those resources from people who are, you know, like I said, waiting to ambush you, from people who are waiting to feed off of your hard work, essentially, and using witchcraft to draw things into you. It's still work. You know, it still requires going through the rituals, going through the rites. It requires energy and ashe and utilization of your skills, your gifts, and your talents in the craft. So there's a lot of people who are out here to, one, get services for free and will only come to you if they feel like you will do your work for free. But those same people may pay someone else who charges them for the same service. So that's something to be mindful of. Number two, there's people who are only around to benefit from the energy that you have. And there are some people out here, some self-proclaimed healers, in whatever craft or rite of healing they are experts at, or beginners in some cases. But there's some people who will stay around you and be friendly with you and create a facade as if, you know, they have a good bond with you because they know that you have a power or a capability that their clients will be drawn to. And, in some cases, you have to be careful who you share spaces with, when you're when you're a woman who rules the marketplace, or when you're in a healing environment. You may want to be careful, because there's people out here who will take credit for things that your energy is causing. Some people have the ability to just walk in a room and create healing, whereas another person, they may be doing things with their hands, doing things with crystals, or maybe even just selling products, or doing other healing activities, and claiming that their activity is doing what your energy as a witch, or as a spiritualist, or your energy as a metaphysical healer is actually doing, by being there, by doing whatever it is you do. So sometimes you have to be careful with the spaces you share, and it's not to defeat the purpose. Don't be subconscious or super conscious of your capabilities to the point where you don't first and foremost be concerned about the healing, if you're a healer. But we're at a time right now where there's a lot of demonic possession, there's a lot of unclean spirits in people, and there's a lot of people out here who they're doing things for money. And there's a lot of greed out here. There's a lot of greed, and there's a lot of disrespect. So just be careful, and be sure that you're getting the credit for the things that you do, and someone else isn't getting credit for things that they're not really capable of. But because you were around at the time, that particular person may be able to create a facade as if they have a gift or a skill that they may not actually have. Then there's people out who will out and out copy and imitate you in order to attract clientele and things. Nothing wrong with marketing yourself better, but again, it's important that you differentiate yourself from people who are trend followers and copycats, and who are biting off of what you do, in order to make money. So it's important, find the balance. Like I said, I'm not doing any free services anymore. And, unfortunately, there's been some situations where, some people in particular have abused or I would say, taken advantage of and misused complimentary services. And I've made it a point to not let bad apples prevent me from servicing the people who need it. And once you know your worth, and once you've excelled to a point where you can't give away your rights or your skills for free unless you are really called to, because you don't want to get robbed. When you earn something, you should make money off of it. When you're good at something, you shouldn't do it for free. So it's not to let bad apples come between that, but it's more so when you have good apples, when you have good clients who up front show you what they have to offer and what they're willing to do and what they're willing to pay. That kind of sheds light on, who you should be working with and who you shouldn't be. In the craft, there's situations where some things I'm not going to take money for. There are certain spiritual transactions that, if the spirits or the ancestors get involved and they discourage me from taking money for the service, there are some instances where you will have to make an offering or make a sacrifice. you cannot make a payment. And, in those cases, there's a lot of times where a person is Black High Priestess, a lot of times coming to me can be a spiritual initiation for you or a test for you. And, it's really about looking in the mirror in a lot of cases too. So understand that you may be led to get a form of healing or something that is about initiating you and testing your faith, or testing your relationship with the ancestors to see whether or not you will allow yourself to be guided by them. That goes for people seeking healing, and that goes for healers as well. Are you really using a spiritual discernment when it comes to when you do things for free, when you're inspired to do something or go somewhere, or when you have to reject, certain people in certain situations because the spirit is discouraging you. This is a time where it's important to be keen with our spiritual insight and intuition and make sure that we have a good bond with that. In some cases, it can mean life or death. All right, everyone. Peace and love.